But all right, well, thanks everyone for coming today, and for anybody who might view this on the RJO internet at some point. But we're here to recognize a number of our colleagues that have served the company for many years, 10, 20, 25, 30. And I'd like to say a few words about them. But before I do, I'd just like to say to everyone, you know, how important it is to have colleagues like you at every level of the company and every job you might do, wherever you are in the RJO organization. Everyone's job is important. And we only get to succeed when everyone in the community, RJO community, succeeds. And so I want to thank everybody for everything you guys do on behalf of the company throughout the year. And so today we're going to thank a number of people who've been with us for many, many years of really great, hard, and dedicated service to RJO. So I'm going to just get started, and we're going to recognize our 10-year candidates first. So I'm going to call their names out, and I'd like them to stand in front. Then I got a few words to say about everybody. So we'll have Benita Jackson. We have Kirk Bonnewell. Steve Bracco is not here, but we'll tell him to watch the video. Steve. John Mance. Jesus Gonzalez. Jesus. There he is. Angela Faye Jones. Angela here. How about Tomoko? Tomoko Lutz?
She's here.
Working. We have Lulu Caravat. And Tony Pickett. Hey, Tony. Well, I look at this group of what would you say, the class of 10 years ago, and think of all you guys in a really meaningful way, the importance that you guys have in each of the roles that you have in the company, and they're diverse roles. You know, we have Kirk in management, Benita in a really important role, execution, revenues and collections, which is millions and millions of dollars. John's involved in, you know, business continuity to make sure that we can run a business if there's ever an event in our building or in the world. So we got balancers that, you know, without our books in balance, we're in trouble. Lulu runs the company. And then Tony, who's been with us for a long time, he's really glue for us up there in RJO Futures. So on behalf of everybody here, our board of directors, we want to thank you guys for years of service. And we have something to give to you, right? Lulu, is this it? Yes. All right. Tony. Tomoko will give to her later. Angela's not here. Benita, thank you so much. John Mance, thank you. Jesus, thank you. Steve Bracco, we'll give it to him at a bar. Lucille Caravet, and then Kirk. Thank everybody. Let's give him a round of applause. 10 years goes by fast. Okay, guys, you can swing out. And we want to now honor our employees that have been here, colleagues of ours, 15 years. So Dave Pomar is the only candidate. There he is. Thank you, Dave. Dave, 15 years of hard service here. What year did you start then? 02. And we weren't quite the same firm as we are today. So you've seen a lot of things happen, growth and a lot of technology adoption. But Dave's been rock solid for us, so thank you very much for all your time. Thank you. What do we got there, Lulu? Thanks, Dave. Thank you. All right, we'll keep rolling. I know you guys want cake. So we have a 20-year anniversary. Danny Connor, who's Jim Connor's brother, who doesn't work in Chicago, so he's not going to be here. Frank Huden, who is not here. I think he's working on the floor. Angie Mittler is here. And then Tommy Spalla. Tommy Spalla. Let's go. Mr. Clean. I get a hug from Angie. Well, these guys, Angie started out as a receptionist.
No.
No? Where did you start?
I started out working for J&O part-time with
Yeah?
new accounts and customer
Okay.
client services, and then the receptionist kept switching and leaving.
So you were
us,
helping.
Yeah.
So-
So then I went over there.
But she's had an amazing, great career with us, doing some great things and in margins now. And then Tommy joined us when we merged with a company called Merchants Trading, and Bob Delia brought us along. Well, actually, it went from Merchants to ING,
Right,
and then
and it's got.
RCG, then to RJO. So Tom's been with
I
us for a
followed
long
the- I
time.
followed the path. You're right, followed the
Yeah,
path.
and Tom has been on the floor for a long, long time, serving all our IBs and ad customers, and has done a wonderful job, and is always someone that's willing to volunteer and do something different at RJO when we need it. So thank you guys for all your years of service. All right, we have a 25-year anniversary today. Rocco Sharisi. Rocco works on the floor, has been with us for a long time. He joined us from O'Connor. He works with the Fixed Income Group with John Coleman and Rob Powell and those guys, and he's always been on the floor. Even as the floor has shrunk, Rocco's there, but he's rock solid, okay? Let's hear it for Rocco. You know, and I should say something about the 20-year-old employees that aren't here. Danny Connor's part of the Commercial Grain Group. He works out of, I think he's in California now, Kirk? He started here in Chicago, and the Connor family is infamous in terms of the top grain brokers in the world, really. I think the three Connor brothers we have at RGO, so we're grateful to have them with us. We also have to recognize Frank Huden, who is also part of the grain group, who works on the grain floor. Frank has been with us for a long time. He actually started in the S&P pit with us as a phone clerk in the S&P pit when there was a lot of risk associated with execution in the S&P pit, and Frank was there just weren't heirs with Frank. And as that execution went on the screen, Frank migrated over to the grain desk and has done a wonderful job for us there too. So I want to recognize them as well. All right, we have one more person to recognize. Well, actually two. Geez, sorry about that. First of all, I want to recognize Colleen Manzi for 30 years. Colleen actually joined RGO roughly the time I joined RGO. We were colleagues at the Sun-Times together. And when I got over here, it was like, we need to get Colleen over here. And what I like about Colleen is that she's done a ton of things in the organization and done them well, and she's moved around. She's raised two daughters and worked, but she was always willing to tell me to go to hell, actually.
Not like that.
Usually behind my back.
No, it was a screw you, Corco.
Screw you, Corcoran, you know, so anyhow. Colleen's got she's got a lot of pizzazz, and we love you and thank you for everything.
Thank you.
What do we got here? All right, and last but not least, Mary Ellen. 35 years. 35 years. I don't know if I have to tell you guys anything about Mary Ellen, but she's been one of the brightest stars that's ever existed at RJO, right? So we worked together. Mary Ellen, when I first got to RJO, her office was next to mine, and she was, well, actually, first she started what we called the New York order desk. And that was us taking orders into Chicago and then placing them in New York because we weren't members in New York. And that we thought we were very clever doing that, extremely clever. And then Mary Ellen, she said, well, I want to do something different. So we got her into the administration. So she was before we had HR, we called it personnel. So Mary Ellen was, getting new employees signed up, properly terminating employees, doing all sorts of stuff. And one day, and answered the phone a lot, one day a phone call comes in, and it was an IB, and it wasn't one of RJO IBs. And the IB said, what do you like about working at RJO? And Mary Ellen went on, and she just turned on her gear, and she, I really like this sales thing. So then Mary Ellen got into sales at some point. From that, okay, there's always career opportunities at RJO. And then Mary Ellen went on to, be the sales leader of our IB division, which is the largest IB division in the world, and she trained a lot of people under her guidance, and so we got a lot to be grateful for Mary Ellen. I remember when we first, back before the electronic age started, we wanted to do a newsletter, and we called it the Green Streak. Newspapers used to have streaks that say when the edition came out. The red streak was like the latest edition of the Daily News, and we thought we were clever by doing the green streak, being RJO. So Mary Ellen would have to write this. We only probably had 40 or 50 people in the company. And I read her first article, and it was heartfelt about Mary Ellen like traveling from one prospect to another. And I said, this sounds too much like Jane has dog goes to bathroom, Jane cleans up. It's a bad example, but it was just but it was like, we were all learning on the fly. We were all kids, and we were all learning on the fly. So, but Mary Ellen is amazing still, and so let's give her a round of applause. So that's for you.
Thank you. All right, can I have the microphone?
Mary Ellen's also a lot like Colleen. She's not afraid to tell me what to do. Or Lulu. I'm kind of used to being told what to do.
Thank you.
I place it on you, but there might be.
Thank you. All right, Colleen.
Okay, so I was asked to say something about Jerry. Like Jerry said, I had the pleasure of meeting him when we worked at the Sun-Times. After a few years, he left the Sun-Times and then to help John O'Brien's business. A month later, he asked me if I wanted to make the move. So there was no interview, just a job offer and a hug. It was the best move I ever made. I feel like I was kind of privileged to form that friendship with you when we were younger, when the company was smaller, and for so many of us, it was a place where great friendships started. It was a time when word processors and yellow legal pads were replaced with computers. When cell phones, remember that big cell phone?
Oh my God.
He would walk down the street with this huge cell phone, thought he was so cool. We did too. Anyway, when cell phones and emails came about, in those 30 years, we've had 3 different locations. 550, where you had your secret passageway.
Yeah, I called it the JFK door.
Okay. He could come in and out.
Although I never had any girls sneak in and out.
No. But if he wanted to avoid someone, he knew how to do it. And then 555 with that big conference room, or was it a crap table?
Yeah,
That's what it was.
We played a few games of crap on Fridays.
I have many lifetime friendships, but the friendships made at work are different because, let's face it, we're all seeing different sides of each other's personality, not just the good stuff. I'm happy to have known you through this journey of Optifast, the Chicago Marathon, my wedding, I have some written here, the birth of your kids, the birth of my kids, the company's 75th at the Merck, the company's 100th at the board, the Christmas parties, RJO picnics, a few sad times, but the fun times far outweigh the challenging times. When I think of all those old days, I can't help but think of all the wonderful work lunches we had. Sukasa, Jim and Johnny's, Scuzzi's, Tefano's, Greektown, Vivo, and Italian Village.
We used to be able to have business lunches in those days. I mean, it's kind of like business lunches are gone.
Oh, I know. I loved when I was
They
invited.
weren't very effective after lunch either.
Well, let me continue. I loved when I was invited, and I loved when and it was fine if I wasn't invited, because I remember you coming back and saying, Manzi, pay yourself another day. Because I was doing payroll then. Anyway, but I have to mention Junebug. Junie was my aunt, and Jerry hired her as a receptionist. She hadn't worked in a long time. She drove a bus or something like that. So then he said, I'll give her a shot. So she came in one day. She thought it was way too much. She left, and she told me, I'm not coming back. It's too much. The phones were too busy. So then he called her, and he convinced her to come back. And then she stayed for 5-7 years.
least, yeah.
Yeah, and she loved it. So I want to say that I don't think that's something that your average you were a CFO then, right? That your average CFO does.
Probably.
But it's a pleasure that you did and to know you. Call you
thanks.
my friend. I should have a beer right now. Cheers.
Junebug was legendary.
Right.
Out front of the old office, and I always got a kick out of it. She was born on leap day. What do you call it? Leap year. So she only had a birthday every 7 years. So we used to joke that she was only like 18 or something, maybe even younger. So we told her she couldn't drink.
I have something actually for both of you. So,
Oh, my God.
This is going to be
Shouldn't
tough.
shouldn't
Well,
be.
actually, some of you may have heard this 5 years ago, but I made a few changes.
Oh.
But I wrote a poem to Jerry. Ode to Gerald Francis, which is my, what I like to call him.
My formal name.
It's the 30th anniversary of that fateful year when you and John O'Brien had a few beers. While watching the Cubs, Johnny shared his woes. RJO needed you to so sharp on your toes. You joined the firm as proud CFO. The changes were many, oh, don't we know. You made some tough choices, but there was a need to straighten the ship, and you did that indeed. When the changes were made and all was in place, your attention was focused on our fine client base. Like the O'Briens, a core value to you is treating our clients like family in all that we do. You've also focused on our hardworking staff, feeling gratitude to all, although cutting time and a half.
That was out.
Being the son of a policeman and a hard-working mom, you grew up knowing the importance of a tight family bond. You brought this to business, which made you quite rare, treating employees and clients with deep, sincere care. You've taken a stand for the rancher and farmer, fiercely protecting them with the strength of new armor. You've defended our industry on Capitol Hill like no other person. You fought the CFTC bill. A mark you will make for all that you've done using your talents along with some fun. Outside of work lies one of your passions, raising money for Ms., which you've done in fine fashion. For 30+ years, you've helped the disabled. You found trouble in college, it is fabled. Community service was the reprimand dealt, and painting the Ms. building is what made your heart melt. What a difference you've made to so many lives. Your generosity helps those who struggle to survive. When free time avails, you don't miss a beat to head down to Mexico in a first-class seat.
That's really all that fits these days.
You enjoy your home in sunny Punta Mita with wife Maureen. Life couldn't be sweeter. And now I speak for many of those here today when I thank you for your warmth, compassion, and play. Working with you is always a pleasure, and even more important to me, your friendship's a treasure. Thank you for being all that you are. Congrats on your anniversary. You're really a star.
Unbelievable.
This is for you.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you, everybody, for being here. Because we all succeed on the backs of each other. And so any success I have is based on all the people here today, the people who have come before you, and those who couldn't join us today. So thank you, everybody.